The FNL Network Talk Show.
Hey guys, welcome to the FNL Network Talk Show. I am your host, Kay Montgomery. We're so excited to have you here today to talk about all things worldly, fashion, travel. We're super excited to get all into it. Let me introduce my co-host today. First, we have Cat Jolleys. So excited to see you, Cat. Then we have Diana. Hey, Diana.
Hi.
And we have Eugenia, you guys, all the way from India.
Hi, guys.
So excited to see you. Eugenia, what time is it there right now?
It is 5:34, and I'm supposed to be meditating and not talking right now. But I love FNL Talk Show so much. I have to be here.
Oh, well, we're so glad that you made it. We're so excited to be on the list of important things for you, which I know you have so many awesome and important things to do today. So we're so excited that you are on with us today. So first off, I wanted to touch upon Paris Fashion Week, because I think we have to cover the Coperni show in Paris, which had Bella Hadid in this amazing spray-on dress. Now, when I first saw the video of this, I thought, oh, they're just doing kind of like an airbrush, kind of the painted dress. You know, that's kind of old hat. We've always seen it. And my husband said, no, it's a dress. It's a real dress. And I was like, what do you mean it's a real dress? And he was like, you just have to watch it. They're going to pull the straps down around her shoulders. And I was like, no way. I could not believe it. What were you guys' thoughts about it? Kat?
My God, I thought it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'm not going to say it was my favorite moment during Fashion Week, but it was definitely a wow moment. It's something that I've never seen before. And all respect to Bella Hadid for strutting out there basically almost naked, because that's not easy to do. It is not easy to do. But I was fascinated by it, really fascinated. And the guys, the fact they just did it live, and it was just, I'm kind of lost for words. It was so amazing. And I am never lost for words, people, never. But it was something I've never, ever seen before. And I've worked a long time in fashion. And I just thought, wow, this is the future. It's like, I don't have an outfit to wear for this event or whatever. Someone come spray a dress on me. I mean, how amazing is that you can get a wardrobe in seconds, fitted beautifully to your body. I just thought, wow, it saves going shopping. It saves trying on all these outfits and tossing them out because they don't fit or they don't hang right because the proportions of your body are different from the proportions they made the dress for. And I just thought, yeah, this is the way forward. I want these guys to come and like make me a whole closet full of dresses and beautiful clothes. And the fact it was material and she could kind of remove the straps, and the fact that it was actually fabric around the bottom of her legs and you could actually see the hemline of the dress. It wasn't, you know, like you said, it wasn't spray paint. It was just, it's the future. It is the future. I'm so excited by it. I really am. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I love fashion weeks. I live for them. I love seeing all the celebrities arriving for the front row and all the outfits they're wearing. I love seeing the theatre and the art and the drama of the actual runway show. And this dress, it was brilliant. It was a spectacle. And just the fact that these talented, amazing designers did it there and then. I mean, they could have really, really effed it up. But I mean, it was spot on. It was brilliant. Bella did an amazing job. Like I said, it's not easy to walk out in front of loads of people wearing not much. And I just thought, wow, it was one of the highlights of Fashion Week, definitely. I just love the whole shebang. I love it all. I love seeing all the outfits. And there was some amazing, amazing, amazing shows, but I'm not going to even start to talk about them, so take away from the red dress that you wanted, the white dress that you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I think it was a good point that you said that it's theater, because it is, right? It's like, it's more than just a runway. It's drama, it's theater, it's all this entertainment wrapped up into one. Eugenia, what did you think about it? You are a model, you walk the runway. What did you think about it?
Well, okay, so I kind of add up to Cat. You know, I think it's amazing, and shout out to Luis Matos, who actually represents Bella Hadid, who's my agent at IMG, and amazing. agent, I'm sure he made sure she got paid what she deserves for whatever she did. But for me, it's a double sword, you know, because women are objectified as models, and like she does have a very specific body type. And how does it make people feel like who have a very different body type? Why don't they put like 5 models with different body types and make sure that women know that it's okay to be represented and walk almost naked on stage? You know, it is very vulnerable. I'm right now in India and, you know, treated with like oil and things like that, and you almost have to street naked. And I always think about it, like how vulnerable is that? And people pray here before you come and they do treatments to you. And I know being in fashion since I was 13, you know, you do get objectified and not always ask, like, how do you feel about that? And being in front of all these people, okay, like that she has to starve, like to, you know, to be a certain shape. I think it's a lot of pressure, you guys. I don't know, as a woman or like anybody, like as a human, you know, just being naked, I would put like, you know, all representations of human shape there. So for me, that was a little bit of a disappointment. Of course, I know that fashion moves forward and it's all innovative, but I still think people have to be more conscious about that. So that's my thought, honestly, on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good point that Kat said. It's gonna fit your body, right? Like what they're spraying is fit perfectly to your body. So it would stand to reason that if you're plus size or if you're not a size 0, that it would fit on your body. And I agree with you, Eugenia. That would have been amazing to see. Let's see it work. Like bring out someone, you know, who's an average body type, or bring out somebody that's plus size, and let's see it work. What were you going to say, Diana?
No, I was
There's no average type, you guys. There's no average type. I think.
Pooch. So they'd have to put the dress around the pooch. I don't want to know how that's gonna look.
But also, like, I feel we're so ashamed, you know, like, of course, like, I know I had to starve, like, Kat, you know that, you know, to look a certain way. Like, there's no average, there's no shame. So why don't bring it on?
Yeah, no,
I mean, you do, like, I know, like you, Eugenia, you have to look after your body, watch what you eat. You have to work out a lot to stay model. I'm going to say model fit, because it is also a job. It does take a lot of energy. I mean, people think, oh, you're just posing all day. Actually, your abs absolutely kill you when you're kind of elongating your body, and you might be distorting yourself slightly and holding poses for a long time. But anyway, back to what Eugenia was saying, she would have liked to have seen other body types. It would have been great to have a plus size. It might have been really nice to have someone who, say, was an amputee or something like that, you know, just have diversity, because bodies are beautiful, whether or not they have an extra roll or two, whether or not they're super skinny and waif-like. And I think everybody should be celebrated. And right now, it's a little bit worrying that certain celebrities, and I'm also kind of feeling it a little bit about the fashion industry, it is going back to the thinner side again. And as someone, I mean, I am thin, I do work hard to stay a certain body shape, but I think that's really worrying. It is very worrying. And I just think celebrate diversity, celebrate beautiful women, big, small, athletic, short, tall, disfigured. Just celebrate the beauty of the human being, you know. So it would have been phenomenal to have, like Eugenia suggested, 3, 4, 5 totally different women all wearing the dress, you know. I would have liked to seen some color too. Like I said, red. I would have liked a red dress. And
I wonder what the price point is on it. I haven't heard anybody talk about the cost of it, so I'm interested to hear more about it. Okay, so we heard that Eugenia is in India, which is really exciting. A few of us here have been. Some of us, like me, sadly have not. It's on the travel bucket list. I wanted to talk a little bit more about travel, especially since the holiday season is upon us. What has been your favorite travel destination that you've been to so far, and why? What would you say, Diana?
So my favorite travel destination I've been to was actually Honduras. I went on a cruise though, so it's sad because that part of the world, you know, some of the areas are not so great, you don't want to go into. So on the cruise, We did have the privilege of going to a private island, and it was beautiful because as soon as you got off the ship, there was a ski lift that took you onto the beach. So you would get off the ship, get on the ski lift, and get onto the beach. You could walk if you wanted to, but the ski lift was way more fun. It was a beautiful little island. Like, I'll never forget it. Cabanas, a whole like bar area. And I was over 18, but I wasn't 21. So I could drink there at the time. So I was getting my mojito fixed before I had to go back to the US. And I actually had a cruise ship romance, and him and his family were there. And I remember because it was before I had my first boyfriend. Maybe it was like, I think I had just turned 18. So I never really had a boyfriend. And I remember we were in the water and like, he was holding me and I was like on his back and I was like, this is so cute. Like, so I look back on Honduras very fondly.
I love that. I love that in the moment you were like, I'm adorable right now.
Yes, I wanted it to be a movie. I was like, this is so great.
Oh, a hot guy on a beautiful beach. Well, you can't beat that. I mean, that does sound pretty awesome, Diana. What about you, Eugenia?
Hey, Diana, what brought you there? Why Honduras? I'm just curious. How did you guys choose it? Just
Yeah. So I think it was a Carnival ship. I could be wrong, but whenever you pick those ships, they just have like a handful of different destinations. So that one specifically was Honduras, Belize, and then somewhere in Mexico, I don't remember. So we sailed out of Florida and my mom was like, these places look cool. I don't know if she gets a lot of stuff from the casino. So I don't know if that was a casino cruise or something.
So fun.
Yeah.
Well, Kay, thank you for the question. You know, it's so funny because I grew up in a place where we could never travel in like post-Soviet Russia. And my first trip was to London. I think we talked with Cat before, but like, yeah, I was obsessed about London for a long time and still am. I'm going actually after India there. I think it's fascinating culture, especially now I'm curious where it goes with the market and everything else. I have so many places that I love. I mean, I'm super happy to be in India for the first time and just explore, you know, the spirituality of this country. And it's really back to basics, but it's so profound. You know, you can really feel the like yogis who lived here, and you really can feel that spirit. And it's, you know, coming from LA, you're so spoiled and you have all these privileges, but now staying here in ashram, you literally have to wake up at like 5 and eat like nothing but like a small things of like fruits and very basic. And it's beautiful, you know, just coming back to that, you think how lucky you are and spoiled and how many things you don't need in life. But on that note, I also love Paris because that was when I first fell in love. And I just, you know, I'm such a romantic, and it's still a city where I would go back every time to kind of dream and write songs sometimes.
Awesome. Oh, I love Paris too. Paris is a great city. Talk about opposites of what you're doing now in India versus Paris. I mean, I felt like Paris was like art, eat, art, eat. That's how it was when I went. I cannot wait to go back. I have a friend that lives there now, and yeah, we're trying to get back soon. Kat, what about you? What's your favorite destination?
Oh my God. I have been so lucky to travel with work. I don't really go away on vacation very much because I've traveled so much with work, and I've lived in some amazing places. Like Eugenia just said, India is phenomenal. It's called Incredible India. The people are amazing. There is obviously a lot of poverty. I lived in New Delhi in a model house, but it was very basic. Our shower was a little pipe coming out of the wall. It just had cold water. And our toilet, we flushed with a bucket. And we had like a 2-ring portable stove. And it was so basic. We had more models than beds. It was really crazy. And all the beds that we did have were broken. But I had the best time. I met the most amazing people. And the one thing I can say about Indian people is some of the poorest people would give you the shirt off their back. They're so generous, so kind. Even though obviously I stood out as a foreigner, quite obviously, I was treated as one of them. I lived, you know, in the community. Everyone kind of knew us. We walked everywhere. We walked to the little store. It was very basic, you know. there wasn't the luxuries. I remember going to the market, and you kind of went down a back little alley, and it was like you were going to buy drugs, but you were going for toilet paper, and you kind of gave over your rupees or whatever, and you had this toilet paper, and you'd kind of like hurry home with the toilet paper like it was something bad, because it was so hard to get hold of toilet paper. And we are so spoiled that, you know, we just go to the store and we have really plush, like quilted 3-ply or whatever. And there I literally it was like getting something on the black market. But India was amazing. I spent a year of my life there. Mosquitoes, horrible. Got to say, the mosquitoes they were like vultures. I was like covered in bites, and all my friends got sick from mosquitoes, because there's different viruses, and they got really sick. I was one of the few that didn't. Anyway, India was amazing. Cape Town is always somewhere that's special in my heart. I spent 3 incredible years there recently. Love the place. It's the most beautiful city on this earth. People are amazing. I've always been drawn to Africa, and I kind of know in my heart of hearts I will retire and die in Africa. So I've been very, very lucky. I've traveled a lot. There's lots of places I want to go to: Hawaii, Maldives.
Yeah, let's talk travel bucket list. What's on your travel bucket list?
Oh my God, I want to go back to Mauritius, because I did go to Mauritius when I was exporting my horse from Cape Town. He had to do residency in Mauritius. But all I saw in the whole 5-6 weeks I was there was the quarantine station. I saw none of this amazing honeymoon island. I saw my accommodation. I walked down the road twice a day. I sat in the quarantine station with my horse for basically 6 weeks to make sure he was okay, to get to know the people that were looking after him. And I went home. And so I'd love to go back to Mauritius. It's a beautiful island, which unfortunately I never saw because I was too dedicated to the purpose that I was there for. And I want to go to the Maldives and Australia. I want to go everywhere, basically. I want to go everywhere. I need like the multi-millionaire husband who's just going to be like, here you go, darling, do whatever you want. Here's my bank card, and then I can just live the life of Riley and travel and tick all my countries off my bucket list.
Nice. What about you, Diana? What's on your bucket list?
So Italy is a big one on my bucket list because I am 100% Italian and I've never been there before. Like, I'm 3rd generation on my mom's side and I think 4th on my dad, and I can actually apply for Italian citizenship. So that's something I'm looking into just to have. But I would love to go to Italy, you know, kind of explore my roots. I know I'm part Sicilian for sure. I think the other half is Napolitano. So really just take the tour of Italy, go to the beaches, try all the food. I know a little bit of the language, so see how far I get with that. And then another one is Hawaii, which Kat mentioned before. And now that I live in LA, it just seems silly for me not to go to Hawaii because it is a shorter flight. And that's something my mom has always wanted to do. And she's always like, I'm never going to get there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you have a daughter who lives in LA. Like, everyone come. And she's like, well, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like, so we got to make it happen.
Yes, it's such a great, and this time of year from January to like March, the tickets are really cheap, like after holiday season. Yeah, you should check it out. Good for your mom. That'll be so much fun.
My 30th birthday. And the flight tickets were fine, but it was earlier last year. It was kind of when travel was starting to pick up again. So the hotels were like beyond.
Yes.
So we ended up going to Disney World, and I wanted to stay at Polynesian, but that was booked. So we stayed at Grand Floridian, but I did a photo shoot like with Disney photographers at the Polynesian resort. So I got my little like Hawaiian getaway.
I love that. You were like, I'm gonna get a little bit of Hawaii in Florida.
Yeah.
You did it. Well, I'm excited for you to go to Hawaii. Hawaii is so awesome. That's why, I mean, I'm always like, I wanted to go my whole life. I went maybe like 10 years ago or so, and it really felt like it lives up to everything that you see on TV, and like, you know, it's all of that for a reason. Like, people are like, oh, it's cliche, but I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's not cliche because it is everything it promises to be. Like, it did not disappoint in any way. And that's like, from somebody who's not super outdoorsy, and I don't need to be entertained a lot, but it is just so beautiful. What about you, Eugenia? What's on your travel bucket list?
I wonder, you guys, which island in Hawaii do you like? Because I have so many friends who were born in Hawaii, and it's so true. It's a very special, actually, place. It's very, like, it has like a spirit of Hawaii, but I wonder which islands do you prefer?
So I've only been to Honolulu, and we stayed in a little town called Haleiwa, which is like right on the coastline, really small, like really intimate. And actually, my full name is Kahaila, and that's after, there's a Kahaila Mall, there's a Kahaila Hilton, there's a Kahaila Street. I went to a store and I met a checkout girl, and her name was Kahaila. I was freaking out. I was like, my name's Kahaila too. And she was like, okay, great, girl. Like, it's not that rare of a name. Good for you. You know, I was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So for me, Honolulu, that's where we went. Oh, so it's the island of Oahu, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so special. That was my first traveling out of New York. Actually, I was doing a photo shoot for Harper's Bazaar, and somebody was traveling to Hawaii to do a shoot, and I'm like, please pick me. And they're like, okay, never been to Hawaii, let's go. And because my dad used to travel there for conferences, and I lost my dad, and they're like, okay, we'll take you. So fashion industry was so generous in that sense. And I think the black sand beaches are very special. On my bucket list, well, also I love, you guys, you should check out Amazon in Brazil. It's like definitely one of a kind of a trip. I've been to Manaus. It's a little town in Amazon, and you have to fly so many places. And there's a hotel called Ariao, which is a hotel built on sticks, completely on sticks. So it's very ecological, but you have like alligators and anacondas and like all kind of wild lifestyle around you, and you have monkeys coming for breakfast, and it is just so special and so, you know, wide, like eye-opening. My trip would be, I think next trip would be to Peru, because I'm on this spiritual path now. Like, I want to try ayahuasca. I've done it once in Los Angeles, but I want to go and do it with like shamans in South America.
Yeah, like a shaman.
And I heard Peru is like a place to go. And I think it's just such a fascinating culture.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting that you're letting your spiritual path kind of be your guide to your travel bucket list. I think that's really cool. So my favorite travel destination, and I've been to places in Germany. I've been to Paris. I've been to Mallorca, which is a island off the coast of Spain. Where else have I been to? Costa Rica. But my favorite place is New York City. Like, I love me some New York. My daughter's in school in New York now. When she chose New York, me and my husband were like, yes, because we'll get to visit her and insert ourselves into her life. But I just feel like every time I go, I love the city more. Like, when I went to drop my daughter off, people give New York a bad rap, but people have always been super nice to me in New York. Yes. Always. And that could be because I lived in Philly for a long time, and Philly is rougher than New York. Like, people in Philly, like, you want some group, like really just like bold, like straight up tell you how it is. People, that's very much Philly. And I love Philly too. But New York as a city is just so vibrant, beautiful people, and I love a place that just has that vibrancy with people everywhere at all times of the day and night. Like, I just really love that. And you know, you're hearing all types of different languages spoken. People are coming from all over the place. The food is amazing. The art is amazing. The sightseeing is so cool. So New York is always at the top of my list. I know I sound like a bumpkin and like nobody that ever leaves America, which I do, but I just love New York City. And then my bucket list would be South Africa. So, I mean, just everything about it seems dope. And I would never go on safari. I definitely am not there to see animals. I would go there to see culture, people, and food. And so that would be my top 3, but I would be really excited. I just think that South Africa would be dope. You know, a lot of my cultural heritage is from there. And so I would just be really excited to connect in that way. Okay, so fall is here, which means spooky season is here, which got me going, kind of thinking about memory lane. Now my kids are kind of older, so they don't do Halloween costumes like they used to, but I love Halloween and I love costumes. I have a sister that is it, guys, she's insane for Halloween. Last year, she dressed up as Pennywise, full Pennywise makeup. Like she does makeup like a special effects artist. It's amazing. So she took video of herself just like driving her car. People on the street were like stopping. People in cars at red lights were like freaking out at her. Her Halloween costumes are always top tier. I can't even come close to those Halloween costumes. The best we did in my family was last year or the year before. My husband was Joe Biden, I was Kamala Harris, and my daughter was AOC. So that was really funny. We all dressed up. And then because we got to do early voting, we all went to the polling stations, and we were Biden Harris fans. So we all went to the polling station like that and took our pictures in front of the polling station, you know. So that was really funny. That was one of my favorite Halloween costumes because we got to do it all together. What about you guys? What are some of your favorite Halloween costumes? What's your number one Halloween costume? Kat, so you grew up in the UK, I'm guessing, and I'm guessing you guys probably didn't have Halloween as a kid. You either, Eugenia. So what are you guys doing now for Halloween that you enjoy, or do you?
Okay, so yeah, Halloween was a bit of a non-event when I was a kid. Okay, we had the pumpkin and we carved that, and that was about it. You know, I wasn't taken trick-or-treating or anything like that. I remember being a kid, and the highlight one year was my grandparents, my granddad's company was in, I was going to say Philadelphia, but that's wrong. It was in Phoenix in Arizona, and also in the UK. And they came back from Phoenix, and they had this basically massive trash bag, but it was orange and it had like a pumpkin's face on it. And so they thought this was great because they gave us rakes, like leaf rakes for the garden. And we spent like a happy afternoon raking all the leaves up in the garden to stuff this big sack. So it was like, basically it was, you know, I'm going to say a very tacky Halloween decoration, but it took so much work and so much effort, and we were so proud of it. And, you know, like we didn't have the blow up, I was about to say monstrosities that are out here, because, you know, it was very basic. But now in the UK, Halloween's huge. People dress up, they go out to party. They've kind of stolen USA culture. We now have the baby showers, we have the bridal, you know, showers and all that sort of thing. We have the gender reveal parties. We have basically stolen the whole of, you know, American culture.
Well, we love it. We export it. We want you to love it. Just so have you.
I mean, we do Black Friday and everything else. So, I mean, I do love Halloween. Do I dress up that often? I'm going to say no, I don't. And it's more because, like, I just kind of, I don't know, like, I love the idea of dressing up. I've dressed up on a few occasions, but sometimes I'm like, well, unless I'm actually going to set a party or something, or I actually have a reason to, I kind of just can't be bothered with it. And I do love Halloween. I love all the decorations, but I have to be going somewhere. So it has to be like a Halloween party. And then I'm like, oh my God, you know, what am I going to wear? And pull out all the options sort of thing. So I find it exciting, but I'm more excited seeing what other people are wearing.
Yeah.
So, and there's some brilliant costumes. I mean, I remember I lived in West Hollywood, and West Hollywood is huge for, you know, Pride. It's huge for Halloween. And just seeing some of the costumes in the street, it was amazing. I remember one, and it was this giant penis. And it literally ejaculated water out the top.
Oh boy!
And I just thought that.
Can we say that on FNL Cat Jolleys? Good heavens!
But it was the best costume ever, and it was, you know, like I lived in the center of the Rainbow area, and it was just brilliant. I've never seen anything like it, and I just thought, oh my God, that is a costume I'm never going to forget. I'm always going to remember. Was the giant penis that I saw one Halloween. Best costume ever.
Wow. Well, I was gonna say my best costume was once my daughter. I dressed my daughter up as Medusa, and I hand built all of these snakes to go in her head, because you know Medusa has the head thing. because we were going all out that year. And so she had her long, cool gown, but I just hand built every single snake, and I had the tongues coming out and it was all over. And that used to be really fun, just because when you have a little kid doing Halloween, everybody else's kid is doing Halloween. So you get to see everybody else's crazy Halloween costumes. And I remember this kid in her class, his dad was a tattoo artist, and he shaved his head and he had tattoos in his head. I mean, his dad was just tatted all up. And so for Halloween, he dressed up as his dad. So he was in like the 2nd grade, and he came with tattoos in his head, like fake tattoos, all over in his head, all up and down his arms. And everyone was like, it took a second. And we were like, wait, are you your dad? And he was like, yeah. And it was just so funny because he's like a super quiet kid. And he was like 8, it's just like the cutest thing. Like, so funny to dress up as your dad. Like, who else would dress up as your dad for Halloween? But if your dad's cool, I guess you would want to. What about you, Diana? So you grew up here. You grew up in America. I'm sure you've had some Halloweens.
Yeah. So my favorite Halloween costume was a few years ago. I went as plastic surgery Barbie. So I had a really glamorous makeup, and I had a blonde wig, and everyone saw the picture and was like, you have to go blonde. And I'm like, I'm going to be a weird orange phase. No. But after I did the glam makeup, I took eyeliner and I did marking. So like there were dots here, there were like arrows going up, and it looked like I was going to go under the knife. So that was a pretty cool one.
That is hilarious.
I went as Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction because she's one of my favorite movie characters. So I had the short wig, I had the bloody nose, and then we did the syringe in the heart. So that was pretty cool. When I was little, though, my mom, I get so many compliments on this. My mom made me a Mary Poppins costume because that was my favorite movie growing up. And I was everyone's flower girl because I was a baby of the family. So we had like the white dress, and my mom, she's so good with sewing. She took the red ribbon and she did it through the bottom. Whoa. She added some mesh embellishment, and then she did the hat and the parasol. And that is like the iconic, whenever it's like a birthday, she posts that picture. Like it's just the iconic. Everyone knows I was Mary Poppins growing up.
Oh my gosh, go mom. That is a lot of work. How awesome is that? And you remember it forever. You really are into Halloween, Diana. Every single costume you named seemed awesome. That's insane. That plastic surgery Barbie is hilarious to me. Oh my gosh.
That one I actually found. There's a YouTuber, her name is Mikey, and she goes by Glam and Gore, and she does special effects makeup, kind of like you mentioned your sister did. Mm-hmm. So the original, she did 2 looks with it. She's like, okay, this is the pre-op Barbie, and then she took like the, what's it called, the prosthetic makeup, and she did a post-op one where it went wrong, and she had like really cool scars and stuff, and I'm like, I don't trust myself to do any of that, but that's pretty cool.
That is so dope. I love it. So Eugenia, I know you didn't grow up here, but you have a little kid. Are they starting to enjoy Halloween? Are you getting into costumes yet?
Yeah. Kate, how old are your kids?
Well, my kids are old kids. So I have a daughter that's 14 and a daughter that's 18. So 14 and 18.
Oh yeah. So my son is 14 and my daughter is 10. So they're old kids.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you had little kids.
We need new ones. It's so funny you guys saying that, and Danny, I love how you put a comedy spin on the Barbie, because I think we do need that, in this plastic culture. I'm fantastic if I'm plastic. Well, I moved to US on October 30th to New York, and I remember there was like a huge parade on the 31st, and you guys, I was terrified. I like, not kidding, I was terrified because I come from Russia, right? And like it has to do something with religion, because we grew up like Orthodox, even though I'm not religious, but like we grew up very strict, like no looking at the dark side. Like you have to like confess to all your sins and you have to be a good person. And there I was in the parade with like all these monsters, right? So I was terrified. I was like, what is happening here? Like, what is this darkness? But I learned so much to appreciate it, because I think people really embrace their shadow side in a way, and like you're allowed to be whoever you are and like act it out. And it's actually super healthy comparing to being in a religion where it's like prohibited and you only have to stay in the light. I think it's super fun. And plus the kids, of course, when you have the kids, they give you the permission to just go for it, right? And I do live like that in West Hollywood, and we usually go to Beverly Hills where they have a witch house, and literally like a witch house. You know, it's one of the tourist destinations, and it's super pretty, and people go like trick-or-treating. And I did started to really enjoy Halloween after having kids. And I remember when the Twitter started, and my husband like dressed as a bird, as a Twitter bird. That was super fun. I usually do choose the easy path, like dressing like a witch, a cat, and I enjoy all those kind of things. And, you know, it's so funny because I'm coming back. I'm actually traveling for like a month this year, and I'm coming back on Halloween. And my daughter is so into Halloween. She's like, she was dressed as an alien. She orders her costumes like a month or even more before, and full on. And this time she's like, okay, Mom, I'm going to have a party at my house, and we're going to dress like movie characters, and everybody's going to be a movie character. And she's like, you're going to be The Rock. And I'm like, what the hell are you thinking? I don't know, you guys. I'm like, how can I pull that off? Like, how? Like, I don't know. She's like, I'm gonna order like a full like prosthetic makeup. I was like, I don't know. It seems crazy, but you know, my 10-year-old is like into fantasy, I guess.
I
She's
love
like,
that though. I mean, like, you know, you get fat suits and stuff for movies. Perhaps you can get a really built bodybuilder type suit. I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
Muscles.
yeah, you can't quite borrow a sumo wrestler costume, but there's got to be something that's like He-Man or something like that, and then you can adapt it.
That is so
they have muscle costumes for little kids, don't they, when they're like superheroes? There's got to be some
they have those
genius side.
Yeah.
You could be the fanny pack rock though.
Oh,
yeah, you need a muscle costume.
With the turtleneck and the jeans.
The turtleneck and the like gold chain and the fanny pack. That was like, so have you guys ever seen that picture of him?
Yeah.
And like a bunch of people did that costume, like the fanny. So you could be the fanny pack rock. You just need some acid wash jeans. You know what I mean? I love that idea that your daughter had of like movie characters. Like when you said that, Diana was like clapping.
I'm coming to your party.
I know. I'm like, I need to steal that idea. You're
You guys invite-
a movie character. That is so cool. I love that idea.
That's brilliant. I would go as like something from Beetlejuice or Edward Scissorhands, something like that. Something that's really fun to do. And like, I kind of like the Tim Burton sort of vibe. So that'll be, yeah. That's my jam. That is my jam.
This year, she's kind of obscure. It's from a movie called X. It's a horror movie directed by Ty West, and it's about these kids in the 70s. They're like all over 18. They go to this farm in Texas, and they make an adult movie. And one of the girls, she has this costume. It's the easiest costume ever. It's just overalls, like a brown wig, blue eyeshadow, and blood. And that's what I'm doing.
And blood. Blood, the most important part of the costume.
Lots of blood.
Lots of focus. Splash it up.
I love that. That's so cool. I love to see people do like theme costumes. Those are really fun too. Like seeing people do like a theme and then being able to be like, oh, I know exactly what that is, or you know.
Yeah. One day, like you don't get to have to be yourself. You know what I mean? Like I would love, people would look at me sideways, but I would love to walk around with fake blood on me. But like, you know what? That's not socially acceptable. So we're not going to do that. But Halloween, I'm going to go all out.
Halloween, you can do it. Yeah. No, that's so funny. That's so totally true. I'm just sad because where we live, our street is kind of dark. And even though it's a big neighborhood, no kids ever really come trick or treat down our street. So we never get to see like cool costumes. We have like a party at church. And so like we'll get to see kids there, but like kids like in the neighborhood, we don't get to see because they never come down our dark block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still buy candy anyway? And then whatever you don't give out, you just eat? Because that's me.
I used to, but now I don't because, well, my daughter's last year of trick-or-treating was last year, I think. So I wouldn't buy candy because I'm like, I'm just going to eat her candy when she comes home.
Yeah, the last sort of candy I bought, thinking that, because I live in a big apartment block, so about 300 apartments. So I bought, candy, thinking the kids that live here would come round to different doors. Didn't happen. So I started eating the candy myself, and I broke a tooth on an everlasting gobstopper.
No.
Literally broke a tooth. Since then, Halloween candy, no, not in my house. I mean, it was the most stupid thing. But I've still not fixed it. It was actually a veneer that I broke, and thank God it's at the back, because I haven't been able to fix it yet.
Great. Well, let this be a warning to us all. No everlasting gobstoppers for Halloween. So speaking of dress up, there are a lot of biopics or biopics out lately. One most recently was Anna de Armas is playing Marilyn Monroe in a film called Blonde, and then Baz Luhrmann did a Elvis biopic like over the summer. But both of them kind of received flack because people were saying they weren't true to the actual artist story. I know more specifically about Marilyn Monroe, people were saying that it just mined a lot of the trauma of her life. It created some stuff that didn't even happen to her that was also traumatic that they just threw in. And for Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, I know they tried to make him seem like some type of racial freedom fighter, which he was not at all, you know? So there was just like a lot of controversy around that. And I just wonder what you guys' thoughts were about when people take celebrities and kind of redo their lives, but then take an artistic interpretation. Should that be okay? Should we just look at it like, oh, it's just a film? Or since it's about a real person, should it be more of a biography and follow their life more closely? What do you think, Diana?
So it's kind of hard to know everything that goes on in someone's life, especially in the cases of Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. They're not here to tell their stories. However, there is a major difference between like maybe we finagled some details in this conversation and the whole story is going to continue out as we know it, or we're just going to make up a total different thing, like what you said about Elvis before being like the fight, like that's not true. So I think as long as we stay true to like a generic blueprint, knowing what we know, and we still get the true story out there, I think that's fine. Again, where they lose me is just kind of taking too much artistic freedom, because then what is the point, right? It's not based on a true story anymore. It's kind of just becoming its own different story. One thing I think of, I don't know if any of you guys watch like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I remember Kyle Richards was doing, she got a show, it was called American Woman, I think. And the difference with that was it was loosely based on her mother's life. So they had like a freedom to kind of create different storylines. So when something's loosely based on someone's life and they might not have the same name as that person, and they're doing different characters and different caricatures, that's one way when you can really take freedom with it. I know that actually caused a lot of drama within her family because they were like, you're like telling mom's story and this didn't happen. She's like, guys, it's loosely based on this. It's not the real deal. So even something like that caused drama. But definitely, I think it's important not to lose sight of the truth, especially when you just have a bunch of fans coming to see this. They might be disappointed, like kind of in this case, when things aren't what they seem to be, you know?
Yeah. What do you think, Kat?
I think you have to take this sort of thing with a pinch of salt, you know? It comes down to it as entertainment. When you go to the movies, you want to be entertained. You don't go there necessarily, I don't know, to see a documentary. It's a film, it isn't a documentary, you know? And I think you have to say, you know, they do take artistic license. It is loosely based. There is a lot of real stuff, and then they add their own stuff too to make it interesting, to make it really speak to an audience. I'm going to say I did start watching Blonde last night. I was babysitting, and when the kid went to bed, I started watching it. I was asleep within like 20 minutes. I actually was scrolling on my phone.
Wait. Does that say more about like you being exhausted from the babysitting, or was the movie just not good and keeping your attention?
I don't know. I mean, I have my attention span is not great anyway. I'm not a big one for going to the movies because I kind of zone out and my mind goes different places. But this, I just kind of, maybe it's because I wasn't in my own house or whatever, but I was really bored in the first 20 minutes. I'd like to give it another shot because obviously I ended up turning it off and just scrolling on my phone, to be honest. But you know, I would like to see it, because like you said, there has been mixed reviews. And I did want to see the Elvis one, because I think Austin Butler I think he's pretty damn talented. And, you know, I don't really care if it is 100%, you know, as Elvis may have wanted it. I care about the entertainment, the theatre, the art of it. I just want to go. I want to be an escapism, you know what I mean? It's like, it is. That's what going to the movies is about. It's about escaping from your life, escaping into a story. And you want to be fully engrossed into it. You want to feel like more or less like you're there. As you know, whereas if you kind of, like my story from last night, when I was watching the Marilyn thing, okay, I didn't give it a fair chance. But there was a wall between me and the show that I was watching. But yeah, I'm all for people changing life stories slightly, adding their own fairy dust to it, because it's about entertainment. It's about the spectacle. People don't go to the movies necessarily to watch a documentary. And I think if you want to be 100% true to what happened, then record it as a documentary. If you want to entertain people, if you want theatre art, if you want to go for the Oscar and the whole big shebang, then add the fairy dust, add the magic, make it a show that people are like, wow to. And no one's ever going to be 100% satisfied. It's like, hey, everyone's raving about Top Gun Maverick. You, I know, didn't like it. We're different people. There's, you know, it's like Don't Worry, Darling. I think the Wilds film, people are trashing it, but other people are saying it's, you know, the best thing since sliced bread. We are human. We all have different interpretations of things, different opinions. What I like to watch isn't what Diana likes to watch, maybe, you know, we're all different. So I say go for it. I say sprinkle as much fairy dust as the director wants to sprinkle, and yeah, make it something that's enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it's dicey. I mean, I think it's a good point you make by saying, you know, a documentary is a type of movie where we expect it to be fact-based. And recently, just this week, a lot of stuff came out about some documentaries coming out on Netflix, and how accurate are they, and what are they doing with people they interview, and should they be paid, and some really interesting questions surrounding kind of how the documentary feature is made. But I totally understand what you mean. I think as long as people know, like, this isn't true, and like Diana was saying, it's based on a true story, and we aren't selling this as this is this person's full personality and 100% accurate. I know Ava DuVernay did Selma, which was a movie basically about Martin Luther King's life, and you know, quintessentially about Selma and what happened there, which was like a pivotal point in, you know, his life and the movement. And so it was really great, but I know there was some discrepancies about how the president of that era was just, you know, was interpreted, and some people didn't like it. But for me, I thought it was the best interpretation I had ever seen of MLK, because he's usually like this peaceful and like very strong and like kind of tight-lipped figure. But in Selma, he was angry, and throughout that whole performance, there was just an underlying simmering anger, which I felt like had to be accurate. I was like, I've never seen this portrayal of Martin Luther King Jr., and I feel like there would have had to be a lot of simmering anger that he had to continually keep in check, because there was just so much injustice going on. So for me, you know, seeing that there were parts of it that weren't accurate, you know, that we know weren't accurate when it came to the president, I didn't care. Just like you said, I didn't care. I was like, I feel like this interpretation is MLK is perfect, and he's who I'm here for. I don't care about the president at all, and whoever's, you know, saying he's doing whatever, like, I could care less. Yeah, so that was really interesting. What do you think? Do you have thoughts about that, Eugenia?
Oh, absolutely, you guys. I think it's such an interesting discussion, you know, because I love what UK said, and all of you, you know, being in the center of Hollywood, like, I understand it is a propaganda machine to a certain degree, and like, you know, there are things you can say and can't say, but still, I feel honestly like America still has, even now, like the most freedom of expression, you know, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that we can still have our voice, even though, you know, it has to go through like some kind of censoring, but I think like I appreciate those stories. I think everybody has a freedom of, you know, voice and their expression. And I actually was in Cannes at the Baz Luhrmann, how you call it, his last name, you know, the Elvis premiere. And I met Priscilla a night before, and she was very happy with the film, you know, and she's the one to judge, obviously. I think his interpretation was not accurate, like you said, but I think for me, it really touched me because it was a story about his manager and him, and that kind of dynamic in the entertainment business, how a manager can like milk you for everything you have. And that really touched my heart. You know, there's a lot of cultural things that I definitely think, you know, I need to educate myself so much more, coming to America so late, and that interpretation. But for me, it was very touching just about entertainment business and how being an artist, sometimes, you know, you're surrounded by this like a huge machine of agents and managers who just will put you and not even allow you to travel outside of the country and just take you for what it is. And of course, Austin Butler was just incredible. I think he's so talented, and, you know, no matter what, as an actor, I think to, you know, to go through that, to get to where he's at, how he portrayed it, it was fascinating. Marilyn, I haven't seen it, and I heard a lot of things about it. I heard how people say like, oh, you kind of fetishize like female pain, right? So I don't know, Kat, you probably can say more just from your experience watching it. I think I have to watch it to really see if emotionally I connect to it, because I think it's all like a gut feeling, you know, if something resonates to you, like the Darling film really resonated with me about the housewife theme, because I can't be a housewife at all. Like I told my husband, I'll burn all your toasts and can be 50th housewife. So I think there's so many themes that you can connect to, and people have the right to do their interpretation. You just have to research yourself, like what are the facts and who is the director and why is he have this specific like interpretation of characters and storyline. And I love that. I think we all have our freedom to express ourselves as much as we want to.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I will say, I haven't heard a single bad thing about Austin Butler. Like I've heard bad things about the movie, but I've heard people say in the same breath, you know, I didn't like the movie, the interpretation, but the guy who played Elvis was amazing, like across the board. So yeah, so that's really cool to hear. But that's an interesting part, an interesting thing that you got out of it, Eugenia, that I had not heard before. So actually, you talking about it makes me want to see it, and I had not wanted to see it before because it had been panned, you know, for painting him to be like this, you know, guy who fought against racism when he wasn't that at all. So I might actually give it a try, because what you're saying about how it shines a light on Hollywood and managers and that whole system is very fascinating to me. So that's interesting. Yeah, I would be interested to hear about that. All right. So I wanted to just squeeze into the very end, speaking of what's happening this week. So Rihanna, you guys, is having a concert at some football game. I'm really excited. No, I'm just playing. Rihanna is going to be playing the Super Bowl. I don't really care about football, but I do watch the Super Bowl because I love the halftime show and I love commercials and I love to eat hot wings. So I don't think that she has a guest. They haven't announced that she's going to have any other people perform with her and that she isn't going to have any guest people come out. But if she did, and she asked you, Cat Jolleys, I have a spot. I think I'm going to give a guest person the spot. Who do you think it should be?
Oh my God, this is so difficult because there's so many artists I love. I mean, I think Harry Styles is a massive showman, but I think because of who he is, you couldn't choose him because he would dwarf her because of his following. You know what I mean? But I would love to see Rihanna and Harry Styles. I think that would be amazing because they're very different as artists. She is phenomenally talented. He is a showman. He really is. I mean, how he is on stage is spectacular. It really is. I would love to see those two together. But I don't think you would. Yeah, I don't think you'd ever see that pairing because he's so famous that it would more or less distract the attention. Well, it would distract the attention away from Rihanna. Because I mean, his fan base is so huge. But I would love to see Harry Styles and
Wait. I'm not even Navy, but I think Rihanna's fan base is pretty big. She's the most she's the highest paid pop star in the world.
Well, her fan base, it is big, but I mean, I just think, well, I'm going to say she's kind of been laying low a little bit.
She has been. I'm going to talk to Harry and see what he thinks.
When did she actually have her baby? It was her that was pregnant, wasn't it?
Yeah, she had a baby like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so she's been lying low recently. Obviously, we've seen pictures of her, you know, with her beautiful bump and stuff. And I think because Harry's just been touring and he's got all these films coming out. He's been at all the film festivals.
Don't worry, darling.
He is. Yes, he is. I want to see that. I do want to see that film because the scene that's meant to be the most popular scene is the Dita Von Tess scene where she's doing burlesque dancing. And I haven't seen the movie, but I was there for the live recording of that.
Oh, and wow.
Apparently that's the most popular scene. So I would love to see the movie. I know there's been bad reviews, there's good reviews. Florence Pugh is phenomenal as an actress. I know that. I do want to see it.
Yes.
Because I've heard so many good and bad things about it. But anyway, back to the Super Bowl thing. Yes, Rihanna is a massive name, but like I said, she's been laying quite quiet because of having the bun in the oven and becoming a mummy. And whereas Harry Styles has been out there in the public all the time. And I think that is kind of put him very much in the eye of everybody.
Yeah, I like that team up idea. What about you, Diana? What do you think?
Yeah, and I also was going to say to Kat's point, I think the reason why Harry might be like more popular in a sense is because he's got the younger like teeny popper fans and their like personality, their energy kind of overpowers. Like one of them is like 7 of us.
Rabbit.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what that is. But who I would like to see, I don't know. Rihanna was very big. Obviously, her career spanned the early 2000s and the 2010s. So I would like to see someone from that time period who we haven't seen much of, like maybe like an Akon or like a Jason Derulo or like one of the big pop divas. I'm trying to think. I don't know why I'm like blanking, but like who was a big pop diva of the 2010s? But like Lady Gaga, she's done the Super Bowl already. So is Katy Perry. I don't know. Because that's Christina Aguilera. Like she would probably be like kind of on the lower span of those years. But
how about Britney Spears? Would that not be amazing to get Britney back out?
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Britney do something in a minute. That would be wild to bring Britney out.
They did S&M together. There's another recording of the S&M song where it's Rihanna and Britney.
I did not know that. Kat, I think you got to jump on it. What if it really is? That could happen. That could actually happen. If they did another take. Oh, see, we're breaking news right here, guys. These are great ideas. Eugenia, do you have any ideas? What do you think?
Yeah, my God, you guys, Britney is like a fantastic idea. I think we should call her manager ASAP. This is like a sold out show. You came out with the whole marketing. Well, first of all, I would say give her own stage. You know, she deserves it, especially if she just had a baby. Bring the baby on, you know.
Oh, we want to see the baby. That's right, Eugenia. I want to see that baby bad.
Yeah, exactly. I think she's fantastic. One of the songs and the singers that my daughter is totally obsessed about, which just came to celebrate her 10th birthday, is the new Beyonce song, like Never Break My Soul.
Oh,
and I love this album so much. So I don't know if they can collaborate together. That would be cool.
That would be interesting. They do both have a Jay-Z connection, so maybe.
Yeah.
I think about the song that she did with Paul McCartney and Kanye. I would love to see them redo that. I'm like, bring Paul McCartney out. We haven't seen Kanye. Well, Kanye walked Balenciaga's runway, right? Like a couple of days ago. Like, bring Kanye out. Like, I want to see them all together. I think that would be a lot of fun and just like a memory lane type of flashback thing. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much. This has been so fun to get to talk to you guys about fashion and travel and movies and everything. Let's see. I want to do a quick outro with you. I want you guys to tell us what you have coming up, what's going on. Kat, for sure, I know you have some exciting news for us.
Well, yes, I do. I'm hosting LA Fashion Week's Lumiere runway event. So it's a big afternoon, lots of music, lots of runway shows. Obviously, we've got the red carpet, we have the after party, and I'm co-hosting it with two phenomenal people. And so that is on October the 15th. So at the moment, I'm starting to prep for that because there's a lot of information to take in, a huge amount. So that's my exciting thing. I'm super excited about that.
That's so cool. And so people can follow you on Instagram at Cat Jolleys, is that right? For updates on that. Awesome. What about you, Diana? How can people keep up with you and what you do?
So I actually am going to be doing some more stuff with Scribe Magazine. I'm going to have a column coming out, and I'm going to be doing some stuff on YouTube with them, trying to fit more movie reviews into my repertoire. But you can always catch me on my Instagram and TikTok at Diana Gebbia, Gebbia, as well as on wherever you get your podcasts, the Believe in Bravo Besties podcast. Always keeping you up to date on your Bravo shows.
Awesome. We love that. What about you, Eugenia?
So after India and meditating here, I'm going to London actually to do a play. It's called Bad Victims with an amazing award-winning playwright, Joanna Pickering, who is a protege of Michael Shanley, and also probably going to do new Guy Ritchie TV series and back to Las Vegas to do Models of Comedy next show in November.
Awesome. And so how can people keep up with you? Are you on Instagram? Is that the best way?
Best way is called CIA and Google,
Yeah,
just
I
Google
heard
it.
that, honey. Well, have a blast in India. I'm your host, Kay Montgomery. You can find me at host K on IG. I also host a show called Down to a Science on YouTube, where I'm blowing up stuff and doing all types of science experiments for kids. We're having a lot of fun. To keep up with everything else I'm doing, just hit me up on the Instagram. We thank you guys so much for joining us today at the FNL Network Talk Show. We will see you next time.